Is it possible to build a 1,000 horsepower B58 for under $30,000?
We don't want to lift head gaskets on no car. If you put head studs in it, you need to retorque.
What is the worst BMW engine to you?
8-cylinder engines, bro.
8 cylinders.
Worst.
The worst engines.
Worst.
On March 2nd, Street Alpha is heading back to Puerto Rico to attend the Elite Tuner Car Show at the Puerto Rico Convention Center. Elite Tuner hosts the best car shows year-round, and they're coming back to Puerto Rico this year with awards, music, insane builds, and so much more. So come hang out with us on March 2nd and get your tickets down below in the description, and we'll see you there. Welcome back to another episode of the Street Alpha Podcast. I am your host, Tukes, and we have the pleasure of being in Puerto Rico again with my guy Jenner. So Jenner's is known to have the best BMW shop in Puerto Rico. So Jenner's been doing this for years. He's also a Brooklyn native, correct?
Yes, sir.
You were born and raised in Brooklyn, New York.
For 10 years, yep, bro.
For 10 years, and now you have migrated to Puerto Rico for some health reasons, technically, right?
That is true, yep.
And now you own the top shop, or the top BMW shop in Puerto Rico. What a big accomplishment.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah,
so
man.
Before we start, let's give a round of applause for Jenner's. Yeah. So I want to say thank you, bro, because this wouldn't have happened without you. We spoke and you reached out to me. I don't even know if it was a reply on the story. And you were like, yo, man, let's get you out to Puerto Rico. And I was like, honestly, man, like, I spent a lot of money on travel already. It's not the right time. And you were like, bro, what you mean? Like, I'll get you out here. And he was being serious. He's being dead ass.
I'm dead ass.
He is being dead ass.
I used that ass at the track, and I think that's when Tukes like, yep,
yeah,
you're from New York.
I knew he's from New York. So thanks, man. I really appreciate it. As I said before on the other podcast, that I am Puerto Rican. And I've never been to this country, and I'm 33 years old. So, or should I even say country or?
I mean, yeah.
What do they say?
Island.
Yeah,
island. I think is the best.
So most people don't even know that, like, you can come here without a passport. Like, you don't need a passport to come to Puerto Rico, right?
No, it happens to us a lot. Like, people, when I invite them to like events or like when we do order stuff through shipping and stuff, they're like, oh, you know, we don't ship international, or, you know, I tell them, like, dude, just go to DHL, go to USPS and ship it like you're shipping something to Florida.
Yeah.
Right? And when they travel, you know, they're like, I don't have a passport. Like, you don't even need a passport. Like, via ID.
Yeah.
And just come down to Puerto Rico. And plus, it's super close. People think also like it's super far, and it's like 2 hours, 2.5 hours from Orlando.
Oh, from
4
Orlando.
from New York.
Yeah.
Which is not that bad, you know?
Yeah, it was a straight flight. It's funny because my girl was like, oh, make sure you bring your passport. I was like, baby, we don't need our passport.
No, don't need it.
Like,
Yeah, man.
I forgot. So what's the culture like? You know, you grew up in New York.
Yep.
And I'm sure you got into cars back then, right?
Oh, not really. I mean, I don't think I was involved with cars when I was in New York. No,
Okay.
my father's, you know, does woodworking and construction stuff.
Yeah.
So I actually I wasn't born into like a car family kind of thing. But I mean, Puerto Rico gave that culture to me. Like, you know, friends meeting at someone's house, working on the cars. You know, let's go to street racing. Let's go to the track.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the love of cars came from.
Right.
And then from there, it just became, you know, taking it seriously, going to school, you know, to learn about working on cars, and then going to Orlando and coming back to Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I love Puerto Rico, you know, the culture, the people, everything about it. So I was, you know, I always knew I was coming back.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, the culture here is very car related, obviously. It's a small island, and there's, you know, events, there's many cars, exotic cars, all types of cars. So it's not we're limited to some type of cars or budget or stuff. Like, you see, you know, 4-cylinder Hondas, obviously rotaries, Lamborghinis, twin turbo Audi R8s, GTRs. Like, there's everything here. So I don't feel like we're in need of anything. I think we have everything as a culture, as a car culture. So yeah, man, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to be here, and I'm blessed to be able to represent, you know, the BMW community and have BMWs in the conversations with like other cars. So
I mean, so coming out here from New York or even from the States, it didn't feel like I was in a different country with the cars. Like the cars are, and that's the first thing I kind of noticed. I'm like, oh, the cars are kind of like, it's the same
thing.
The same thing.
Like we don't get anything different from what you got, you know, what the States get. We get the exact same thing.
Now, is the price the same?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
we
what's
pay
the difference
taxes.
in price?
Yeah, we pay, there's import taxing, which is crazy. So, I mean, just for references, a new G80 will cost you like 120-ish.
A brand new.
Brand new, yep. So I don't know what it'll cost in the States, but I
think
know
it's around the same.
120.
Is that like a base?
Really?
Is that a base?
Well, no, I yeah, probably like base. I think you can pay up to upwards to like 130 something with like all the options, the special paint. I think I think it's less than 120. I think in the States.
No, it definitely is less
Really?
than that. I think so, depending on what models you're talking about. But
yeah, but that's around that. It's around that.
so, and
pricing.
that's not BMWs only. That's other.
Every car. I mean, electric cars, they don't have. It has less. It has a different taxing.
Okay.
So they don't cost as much.
Yeah.
Because they don't pay that extra tax.
Right.
So, but other than that, if it's diesel or gasoline, it pays some taxing.
You think that's because they try to calculate the shipping cost if you were just to buy a car here and ship it to the States?
No, I just think it's just
a
tax. It's just a tax, Puerto Rico tax that they put on cars.
So if you see somebody out here with like a Lamborghini, you know they paid the high for it and they got money.
100%. Yep. Unless, I mean, yeah. Cars, yeah. I mean, everything else is the same loans, you know, 5-year loans, whatever. And we have lease. So we have leasing here also.
Okay.
So
On brand new cars only, right?
On brand
Same
new
thing?
cars, leasing. So yeah, but I mean, you know, if they have a Lambo, they paid extra for it.
Damn. Yeah, I was able to see the Lambo the other day. I think it was a
Revuelto, yeah, the Revuelto
I've
yellow
never
one.
seen that on the road in the States.
My boy up there, he's
Oh, you know him?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
He's a customer of ours. Yeah, he actually owns the fastest rear-wheel drive Huracan.
Yeah.
At the half a mile. I don't remember the mileage, but yeah, he has a yellow Huracan twin turbo rear-wheel drive, 220-ish, I think it is. Yeah,
And out here.
Yeah. And he used to have an M2, so yeah, good friend of mine.
Man, people doing things different out here.
Yeah,
Puerto
man.
Rico, stand up, man.
Yeah, man.
So now you told me you went to UTI, right?
Yep.
Right. So was that something that you just, when you got into cars, you were like, I want to go, like what made you want to go into a school?
Yeah, I mean, I fell in love with cars. I made the decision that I wanted to work on cars. Actually, I wanted to do engineering with cars.
Okay.
So I was like, I didn't want to go to school. Like, I didn't want to go to college and do engineering and end up working for Whirlpool or GE or some shit like that. So I was like, nah, man, I'm going to go to school first with cars. Then I'm going to do engineering and then I'll go that way. But when I got into working, I mean, learning how to work on cars and seeing the business and seeing how the industry needed so many technicians and then we're paying, you know, fair amount to new techs.
Yeah.
So I was like, nah, I mean, I like working on cars. Right. So I was like, nah, I think I can do this for a living, like, and live well. Right.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, I went to UTI, graduated, did the BMW STEP program in Orlando and came back to Puerto Rico and started working at the dealership, 18 years old, I think, you know, as a master technician.
Yeah.
Because of the BMW STEP program. So I was making decent money and yeah, man, I was happy.
My question to you with that is, at any point in your, like, I guess, automotive schooling, did they ever tell you that you can't be a millionaire when it comes to auto performance?
Well, not really. I don't think no one told me this, but I doubted myself you know, at a point. I mean, I want to have a good living. I actually, you know, obviously, you know, I own a business.
Right.
Doesn't mean I'm living well, right? But I am, you know, so. But I felt like I wasn't going to be able to achieve what I really wanted to do in life with a shop. But it was just bad management from my part. Like I went to school to work on cars, you know, not to manage a business.
Right.
So it took me some time to figure that out, learn that managing the business is just as important as fixing the cars.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like I tell people, like, fixing the car is like a very minimal part of the business. Right. You need to work with customers, employees, distributors, the government, you know, taxes and all this. There's so much into it, right? And all of that is managing, right?
Yeah.
And then when you learn and you take that seriously, like as serious as working on the car, then you start, you know, all right, we need to manage. Like, I need to manage. I need to do what it takes to manage, so I can, have everybody content, like all my customers. Like if you managed well your business, like your employees are happy, your team is happy, your customers are happy, and you're successful, right?
Yeah.
But when you don't do it, that's when you usually see, people, I don't make money with my business. They complain about, my employees, they don't work. And I think the majority of the time it's just you're not managing it correctly yet.
But they don't teach you that in school, right?
They don't. I mean, they should at least give you, and not automotive technician, because you're not actually going to school to own a business. You're going to learn how to be a tech. But if somebody's thinking of owning a business, I would recommend. I never did it. I learned it the hard way.
Okay.
But if I were to do it again, I probably would have went to school and learned it earlier, right?
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
Right. So now, through obviously your experiences and the situations you probably had with bad customers or whatever it is, you were kind of able to tidy up a little bit and run your business the right way.
Yeah, man. You learn something that I love about owning a business, like this business, right? This type of business, is that every day is something different, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you work on the same cars, you're with the same employees, you don't see the same customers every day, so and people that own a shop know that the hardest part is working with people, right? With customers, and not necessarily because it's just that they're all over the place, right?
Yeah.
You have happy customers, angry customers, customers that don't understand what you're trying to tell them. It's a variety of so many things, right? So, I mean, I like it. I've learned how to identify customers I don't want as our customers, right?
Okay.
Because of our way of our culture that we've built here at Bimmer, right? Bimmer. So I identify, like, I'm not the shop for every customer, and not every customer is for our shop,
for
right?
Your shop, right. So
I learned that, right? And I identified it. I don't want to, we call them red flags right here.
Yeah, red flags.
So like customers, red flag, don't treat them bad, but let's just not have them come into the shop, because we know it's going to be a headache down the road. So
are any of those customers N55 guys or N54 guys? I'm joking.
Yes. No, I mean,
I'm joking.
This is what happens. It is not necessarily because they're N54 guys.
Yeah.
Like at some point it's going to be B58 guys, right? Because the people that are buying those cars don't have the buying or fixing power, right?
Right.
Of fixing a car and with certain issues, right? Because if it costs $3,000 to fix it, and I'm not saying it's all of them, right?
Yeah.
But if you look at the scope of all those customers, the probability that they have the money to fix it, at a shop like ours, right? That we charge what it's worth. Like, we're honest. Like, if it's this is this, we don't overcharge. But with our experience and our and our track record, we have our costs, and if you want to pay it, we'll give you warranty. We'll make the things right. Yeah, we're gonna charge you, right? But if you don't, I don't mind if you don't have the money or if you don't want to pay us. Like, it's your car, bro. You can go wherever you want, right? Yeah. But I don't think I don't think they're bad customers. It's just that, they come in here or other shops, even the dealership, like, they just go in and they give you a crazy ass estimate and you think they're ripping you off, and it's not that, bro. It's like,
it's expensive.
It's expensive. And if these cars, we've worked on them for years, you know what goes bad, right? So if you're changing coils, the spark plugs are bad. They're going to go bad. Right. So you're like, put spark plugs in the estimate and, but they're good. Yeah, but I know that if you don't change them, you're going to leave the shop. You're going to go on the highway, beat the shit out of it, and it's misfiring, and then you come over and I have to tell you spark plugs, and they're like, oh, you didn't tell me this.
You didn't tell me this before.
So first time it'll just be, you have to do all this. Right. Why? Because we know it's going to give you issues, right? And if you don't do it, I know they're working now, but when you leave, they're going to stop working. And then, experience, right? Right. I think that comes with experience of, this happened to us once. Now, as a team, like, we have team meetings. Like, this can't happen to us again. From now on, when a customer comes in for this, recommend it at least. Right. Give the customer the option. If he leaves and something happens, we're like, we told you, right? Yeah.
So why choose BMW? Like, what made you, get into BMWs, especially with, I don't want to say their lack of reliability, but I guess with the earlier models, the problems that they had. Like, what made you want to get into that platform?
All right, so I Puerto Rico is full with BMWs. Like, there's BMWs everywhere.
I noticed that.
There's everywhere. So, to be honest, I mean, I always loved the platform, the M3. But I like Porsche also.
Yeah.
And other, cars. And when I was in school, it's like I knew I wanted to come back to Puerto Rico, right? So I was like, man, if you go back to Puerto Rico and you want to have job security, and you're gonna know you're gonna have enough cars to work on,
right?
BMW. So I was like, let me go to BMW. And I mean, I might have thought at that point that was the reason, but I know I made the right decision because I identify very well with like the culture and the customers with BMWs. Like, I've built so many relationships with BMW owners, and I've met other communities that I don't want to, speak, but I see, and I'm like, I don't know if I can, I don't know if I identify very well with other communities.
I got you. So now with the BMWs, what were some of the models early on that you like gravitated towards?
Well, when I went to school, I started working on the E90 stuff, like E90 M3s, C46s. I used to do a lot of evaporators at the dealership, like on the E46s, E90, window regulators, so many stuff. So that's where my school started. Like, we don't work on E36s here. And not that I don't appreciate it. It's not my school. Like, I don't have tools or the knowledge to work on them. So I have friends that own shops that know what they're doing. So I just, send them that way. Yeah. But for me, it's just like E90s. And then the 335 came in, and I actually didn't do performance at first. I used to do like I still do more service than performance now.
Like maintenance and stuff.
But at that point, it was just straight up service maintenance. And then the 335 came out, JB4s, downpipes, intercooler, charge pipes. So, I fell into that, right? And then it just kept on growing from there. It's like, M3s with the S55. The N55, I don't know. It wasn't as big, right? The transition, like from the N54, the N55, it kind of went down a little bit. And the S55 came out. And I think it really exploded at a point where I bought an F80 and I started doing everything, tuning, all this stuff. And we became the first shop in the world to run 9s on a stock internals on the S55, on the F80. And then I think people were like, oh, wait, you can run 9s on this? And they just, it just started storming in. Like, F80s started coming in. And from there, man, it was like the 340, the Supra came out. Yeah. Now the G80. Right. And it's been a constant like growing of that department here at the shop.
So out of, since we were on the topic of reliability before, out of all the BMW engines, right, what is the worst BMW engine to you?
8-cylinder engines, bro.
8 cylinders.
Worst.
The worst engines.
Worst.
Why?
Oil issues, like valve stem issues on the N63, S63, oil leaks, and they're so big to work on. It's you have to take so many stuff out, and then valve seals, like it's a 40-hour job, labor job, right?
40-hour job for valve seals?
That's what.
God damn.
That's what it pays. It's by the book.
Okay.
It'll take you 2 or 3 days, but if it pays 40 hours, it's not going to be easy to do, right? Yeah. So it'll kill your back standing on top of it. Turbos, feet lines, oil feet lines for the turbos, they got clogged, killed the turbos, and then bearing issues, right? Like clearance issues, it's bad. Like with the N63, X63, it's bad.
Around what miles? Like,
I've seen everything, bro.
Everything.
Actually, the S65 it's known that they have rod bearing issues, right? And I've changed rod bearings on cars with like 15,000 miles.
15K.
And change them because of maintenance, right? Because like people have awareness already at this point that it happens. And they're like, I want to do this. And it happened to me. We did one with 15,000 miles. And I sent the customer pictures. And he's like, bro, those are not the bearings of my car. I was like, I'm serious, bro. Like, we just take this out of your car. And they weren't bad, but you at 15K, you would expect something better.
Yeah.
And you'd be surprised, bro.
How many? So one of the things that I think is that dirty oil is probably part of the issue. No.
Well, one of the thing is BMW. They have maintenance warranty, right? Not warranty, but programs where you don't have to pay for maintenance.
Okay.
In the 450, 4 years, 50,000 miles, and they change the oil once a year or every 12 to 15,000 miles. I don't know in the States because I never actually worked at a dealership in the States, but here, like with the heat, the short traveling, because we don't have like, you know, people don't commute here for an hour and a half like they do in the States on highways. Like everybody lives close, so you know, short runs. Plus, we're in an island. There's humidity. Yeah. We get hit with Sahara sand. Yeah. So all that stuff, I think, plays a part in obviously giving the oil extra work to do. And I've never agreed with that. Actually, we tell all our customers 6,000 miles at least, you know, because now that you're out of warranty, you have to be extra careful with your engine, right? So I think that's probably one of the issues. Yeah. But other than that, I mean, it's probably mechanical stuff. Like this is not new. Like BMW's had bearing failure issues since the S54 on the M3s, right? So I mean, it's just whoever buys these cars has to have the awareness of all these things, right? Yeah, yeah. So it won't happen to you, and just keep in mind and just do your, you know, the maintenance you need to do so it won't happen. Right. So why, like 6,000 miles is kind of like, I mean, coming from I guess a Honda, right? For me, it was always like 3,000 miles, which is pretty common. So why 6,000 miles? Like, why is it like 6,000 miles? I mean, we've seen 6,000 miles is not as much. Plus, you know, oil technology nowadays has advanced so much. Fueling's advanced so much, which is obviously, you know, part of engine wear and tear. Yeah. So, for us, 6,000 is okay. The oil is made to last more than 6,000, right? Right. They're designed to last 15, 14,000 miles, whatever. It's just that, like I said, I mean, oil changes are not $1,500, right? Yeah. It costs you $100, $200 oil change. Right. If you have to do it twice a year and save yourself thousands on an engine and being, you know, without a car for weeks, do it every 6 months. Yeah, I would. Exactly. And also, like on the B58, the Supra, I think it calls for like 020. 020, yep. Which is kind of thin. It's thin. It's a lightweight oil. And I think for the summertime, I think the second year I had the car, I switched over to, I want to say it was 1030, a heavier weight. Heavier weight. And I had less issues with oil consumption. Yeah. So the car did run better. They say if you run a heavier weight oil, you lose gas mileage, but who cares? You know, it doesn't really matter. You sit down with a calculator and calculate the gas mileage. It's just not worth it. It doesn't even matter for engine life. Yeah, it's not worth it. Yeah, right. But yeah, I mean, 020 down here we don't use a lot of zeros because obviously we never see low temperatures of cold temperatures. So I mean, we usually change them to 540, 1040. And it also depends like what type of build you have. Because if it's an OEM car, correct, you're good. But if you're using methanol, ethanol on a regular basis, like you need to use, like we'll change you to another, different oil company that we've actually tested with time. Like there's this company called Blackstone that you send in like a. Oh really? Yeah, they'll send you a packet to send oil samples. Yeah. You send it. Like I think it's like $20 or something. Oh, I did hear about that. And they tell you all the additives and like all the stuff that's in there. Yeah, the wear. If there's wear of anything, it'll give you like a breakdown of all that stuff. And we've done testing on a lot of oils. We have the oil that we use. Yeah. But I mean, if I know a lot of people, like I tell this to a lot of our customers, and they like ask us to take some samples of the oil, which is great, Yeah, just to see like the engine life and what's happening. Yeah, I mean, you could in a way prevent something from happening. Like if you see metal shavings, like if they give you, and I mean, if you record all this data with time and you see, metal shavings going up or whatever, I mean, at least you know something, and you'd be like, yo,
it's a sign, yeah.
look at something. Something's not right here.
Right.
So yeah.
So do you think that aside from the V8, there was other like the E46 as well, right? But the V8 is definitely probably one of the best sounding BMWs. Do you agree?
The S65?
Yeah.
Yeah, and the S85 also, like
S85, yeah.
yeah, those, I mean, high revving engines. It's when NA I think died.
Right.
In a way, right? But I mean, they are, and they make power like crazy, right? These S63s, like on the F90s and all that stuff, they make crazy power. I just don't like them. I really, really, really don't like them. Like, I don't even work on them. Like people call me, I'm like, man, I don't even want to tune them. I tune them because I've seen engine failure, like just for a tune, and people going out of the shop and just, you know, obviously they got a new tune, downpipe, sounds better, and then sees the engine like a couple minutes down.
And there's no shops that like specialize in that platform specifically
here.
In general,
I mean, in general, there's a guy in Texas called Pure Performance.
Okay.
He does, like, that's all he does.
That's all he does.
Engines, bro. S65 engine rebuilds. It's crazy. I mean, S63 and N63 is crazy, the amount of cars that he fixes.
So how do you feel about how the BMW platform has like evolved now? I mean, obviously, the B58 being one of the most popular BMW engines out now, right? Has changed the game overall for BMW.
Yeah. It did. Definitely. 100%. Like, I knew it was when the Supra came out, obviously, all the attention it got. I knew, obviously, you know, I knew it was going to help the BMW community. Yeah. Because, you know, all eyes are on the Supra. And obviously, it lived up to expectations, right? Because cars, you know, were incredible. They keep on pushing the platform. And I mean, it opened the door for companies to be like, oh, wait, you know, we can do BMW stuff. And then S58 came out, looks the same. Let's get into S58. So you have, you know, KLM that was on the Honda community, now into the BMW community. Italian Motorsports, they never sold anything for BMWs. Yeah. So now they're like, you know, everybody's getting into it. Obviously, it's a very good community because, you know, if a customer if supposed to have money, right? If you bought a G80, so they'll spend. And then, I mean, you get tuners that came in, a lot of companies that push the platform, and then all you have to do is like, you know, just transfer into the S58 community. But at the same time, a lot of bad things came from the Supra community because, you know, a lot of bad tuners, bad transmission shops doing some shady shit, engine builders, you know, all that. And it's normal. I mean, not everybody's that's going to come in. But before that, I mean, after that, you know, working on BMWs was like secret. Nobody wanted to work on them. You know, it was NA, the S54. 330 horsepower to the wheel. That was like amazing. Tuners, it was so hard to find tuners that would actually respond to you, be responsible. So now, you know, definitely it brought in another type of customer, I think, into a customer and suppliers and tuners and stuff to the BMW community, which is one of the main reasons I think that this platform has been able to evolve so quick, right? These cars are G80s are 2022s, 2021, I think, first year.
21s. I think 21s.
And these cars are running 7s already.
It's crazy.
8s. You know, and they've been running. It's not like it's now, right? They've been running 8s, right? And to be able to take a platform so new and a BMW, right? Because you don't see this on Mercedes. Audi, for example, with the new RS3, like they haven't been able to tune it yet. Right? These cars were tuned the first day they came out. Right? The Femto and all this other stuff. So, yeah, man, I think that's one of the main reasons.
So do you think that, so you said it's the Supra, right? Now, do you think the Supra name made the push for the BMW community? Because they had the 340 out before that. And that was like the earlier year, but it had a B58.
B58 was always there. I mean, there's no doubt the Supra community pushed it to another level. There's no doubt about it. I mean, it is what it is, and it's good. I mean, I enjoyed it. You know, I like it. I mean, I think it's a bit different.
Yeah.
Like I always joke about this. Like the Supra customer is like very different from the BMW M customer.
Okay.
Like Supra customers are more JDM-ish, right?
Okay.
And I don't know. It's just I think BMW customers like more loyal. Like they'll stick to you.
Yeah.
They'll do whatever you recommend them to do. Supra guys are like all day in Facebook and forums and doing whatever they read and whatever their buddy says at the meet.
Yeah.
You know, and then they're all over the place. Like you see Supra guys start here at this shop, go to another shop, go to another shop. Like you see it, right?
Yeah.
And then when they see they don't get any results, they come back, right? And with G80, not G80, but BMW customers itself is super different. Like these people will sit down, like they make conscious decisions, right? Like it's super. I mean, it's super strange. Like Supra guys, they'll be like, "Yo, how many is a turbo kit? It's 10,000. All right, I'll get you the money right now." Like they won't ask any more questions. Like what turbo, like what kit, what turbo you're using.
Yeah.
They just want to see the turbo there and the sound. And you know, BMW guys, they'll ask more questions like, you know,
Okay.
what are we gonna do? What's the
Right.
plan? And then they'll ask like, you know, where should we start? And you know, what's the finish goal? And they'll do it. Like they'll start going, you know, they'll listen to us, and then it'll take more time sometimes, right? And we like to tell our customers to do it slowly
Yeah.
because you enjoy the process, right?
100%.
Sometimes you build it so fast that when you achieve the goal, then they're like, just sell the car and you lost the customer,
Yeah.
which makes no sense.
That's true. They
right?
get tired of it. They get bored.
Yeah, they're like bored. It's like, what can we do now, right?
Right.
So I always tell them, you know, just I know you want to do it. I know you have the money. Just, you know, let's just enjoy the process. Let's go little by little. So, yeah, man, definitely Supra customers and BMW customers, the majority, not all of them,
Right.
are different.
They're all different.
100%.
It's funny because I bought a Supra, right? And I didn't buy the Supra because of the name. Like I knew it wasn't a Mark IV Supra, right? I knew what it was about. I didn't expect to be, you know, a 2J or for it to have a 2J in it. But the community, it seemed like there was more people who bought it for the name and didn't really, I guess, know so much about cars. So that's probably why you have that experience, because these people get these cars because
Makes
of the name,
sense.
and they just go to a shop and they have the little bit of money to spend. But they don't understand the process of building a car for the most part. And
Makes
that's
sense.
just my personal opinion. I'm not saying they're stupid car
No,
guys
no.
or anything, but that just seems to be what it mostly is.
Yeah,
a
I
lot of
think
the time.
100%. I think that's part of it. That is part of it. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, building a car is definitely not something that is easy, for sure. And whether you're just doing a downpipe or tune, there's a lot of other factors that go into building these cars aside from that, especially drag racing it. So we went to the track 2 days ago, right?
We did. Yep.
Yeah. So there was a ton of BMWs. Honestly, there was probably more BMWs there than any other car.
Yeah, man.
Literally. So it was cool to see the cars going on the track. And I think the fastest pass there was an 8.7?
Yep. 8.7 G80. Yep.
Which is super impressive. What did that car have?
So that car is exactly a customer that we just spoke about.
Okay.
Like, you know, we told them enjoy the process, and we went from stock turbos to building to putting a big turbo on it, to doing the transmission, which and actually that car ran a 9.0 stock transmission, stock internals at one point, like 9 zeros. We tried going for the 8s, but transmission started slipping. The transmission slipped on that pass on the 9 zeros.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's, you know, it has a fully built engine that we did with my boy Tony from TP1 Performer, which builds me the short block, and then we assemble the rest of the stuff. And then normal 3.0 5150 kit that we buy from them. We did the transmission with the new HPK kit.
Okay.
So we're doing a lot of those now.
Is that pure?
Pure, yeah.
Okay.
We do a lot of them because the shipping of us to New York and all this stuff, it can take longer and it'll cost more. So for us, the HPK kit has been, you know, a blessing. same 2-day turnaround transmissions for customers.
Right.
So we did transmission, KLM kit with a 7275. Actually, you know, wheels with like the same wheels the customer uses on the streets with Nito NT 555 R2s.
Yeah.
Yep. And bro, he drove it from San Juan to Salinas, ran at 8.7s, and drove back. It's crazy, man. It's crazy the you know what these cars can do nowadays.
Yeah. No, 100%.
Like what are we gonna have with the next M3? You know?
Right.
You never know.
So, unfortunately, we lost somebody who was big in the car community. One Stock. Rest in peace to One Stock.
Yep.
And he was a huge influence in the BMW community for the B58 and the 240, which a lot of people are starting to purchase now and do their builds with. So, being that the BMW community is big in Puerto Rico, how much of an influence did One Stock have over here in Puerto Rico?
Everybody knew it. Like the day that he passed away, I received so much messages, like forward messages from Instagram, like, you know, you saw what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, I woke up to it. I think a friend, David Fondon, a guy that does our driving, most of the driving at the truck.
Yeah.
He sent me, like, he's an early bird like me. So like at 5:30, me and him always talk in the morning. So he's like, yo, you saw what happened to Andre. Like when I looked, I was like, damn, man, it sucks, man. I mean, obviously you don't want nobody to pass away.
Right.
And nevertheless, in a car accident, right? A fatal car accident.
Yeah.
It shakes you a little bit, right? And I mean, I never had a chance to meet him personally. We spoke a lot through Instagram and WhatsApp. Like we actually spoke on the phone a couple of times. Yeah. Because I had 240 also. Right. So we shared a lot of information, and he asked me some questions. I texted him the day he had an accident on the black car, because I think Peppa had, somebody told me he had an accident. Yeah. So, you know, you guys, you're okay? What happened? I don't know. We looked into film. He looked into film. But, yeah, it's unfortunate that somebody, you know, you don't want nobody to die in a car accident, street racing, right? Because if you probably see this podcast, you're probably, you know, you like to go fast on a car. You probably street race at one point, or you race at the tracks, whatever. You go fast on cars, right? Yeah. And we're all we're exposed to having an accident and losing our lives, right? So I don't want this to be a chance for us to talk about safety, right? Because obviously we lost them, but it is what it is, right? Yeah. We have to have conscience of safety and knowing that, you know, these cars are fast, crazy fast nowadays, right? Yeah, man. And I mean, and sometimes it's not a driver problem, right? Right. It's not a driver error. Sometimes it's mechanical failure. Somebody drove into your lane. It can be so many things, right? And when that happens at those power levels and those those speeds, the driver factor is zero. Yeah. Like there's nothing you can do at many of those many of those situations. Like it's just pray to God you survive, right? So it's unfortunate that we lost Andre. He definitely had a very high impact in the BMW community around the world. Like everybody loved his content, right? And you know, unfortunate for him and his family. Yeah. Hopefully he rests in peace, right? And his family gets the peace and the tranquility to keep on going forward. And for me, obviously, you know, I've had car accidents at the track, and it always, at least for me, I it makes me take a step backwards, right? Yeah. I'm not a racer. I don't live off of that. Like, I mean, it's my business. I enjoy building fast cars for my customers, but I don't make money running good times at the quarter mile. Like, not me. You know, people do that. And those people know what they need to do for safety issues, right? For safety things. So if you're building a car, I mean, I know it's hard to spend money on safety things because because it doesn't give you more power, right?
Yeah.
We're used to putting money to go faster.
We want to see results with what we spend the money with. Yeah.
But sometimes people have accidents to live, and sometimes you have an accident and you can't live you don't live to talk about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, I think people need to put a little bit of more seriousness into that.
Into safety.
No, I don't know, and we probably won't know exactly what happened to Andre, right? There's everybody talking mad shit and being thousands and thousands miles away and commenting and saying things that they don't know about. But whatever it is, he lost his life, right? And it's unfortunate. It's very unfortunate.
So you lost control at an event.
Yeah.
In a similar way.
240, yeah.
Right. So what do you think it is about that car that?
Well, funny. I mean, it's a B58 and it's all-wheel drive, right? It's supposed to be, it's super fast because of that, right? Because it's all-wheel drive. I don't know. This is the thing, right? It's still an M240, right? It's not an M2.
Right.
So components are not as beefy as there are in the M2. Bushings are not designed to flex as an M2, right? Because they're not as strong.
Yeah.
The wheelbase is not as big or, is shorter than the M2.
Right.
It could be all these things, man. It could be a combination of all that thing. It could be differential, a subframe moving, when you're applying all this torque. Matt has one. We spoke about this. Matt Meadows, Mikey and Jazz with the white car over there. I remember telling them when I was going to run the half a mile event, they asked me like, yo, you sure you're going to run the half a mile? Like, this car feels sketchy upstairs. Like, and honestly, I drove it a couple of times at the half a mile and it ran perfectly, right?
Yeah.
But when I put power from the dig on a race, I lost a little bit of control. It felt weird.
Yeah.
But I still controlled it, right?
Right.
But yeah, man, they lose control. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully we could identify what it is, right? Because we don't want to lose anyone again to whatever accident.
Yeah.
Not saying that's what happened to Andre, right? But if it's definitely an issue, something's happening.
Yeah.
He had 2 accidents. I don't know if anybody else has had an accident yet, but I don't know, man. If there's an issue as a community, we have to find it and we have to share it, right? Whatever. Like this is, I know as shops, when you identify a problem that you want to just keep it to yourself.
Yeah. But this isn't the kind of
Nah,
situation.
you don't want to do that. Like if you do that, man, you trash.
Yeah.
Like for me, you're trash. Like if you figure out a safety issue and you keep it to yourself, you're trash.
Right.
So, if we do find it, we'll share it.
Right.
Right. If somebody else finds it, I know Matt and I know the kind of person that he is. Yeah. He'll share it for sure. Right. But hopefully we'll get to the bottom of this soon.
Yeah. Yeah. No, safety is definitely important. That's something that I have to kind of prioritize on this platform because a lot of people watch the content. So I feel like that's something that I don't skip over intentionally. It's just that I assume, it's my fault that I assume that people have certain safeties in their car. But if you're making over 1,000 horsepower, you should have some type of
car's making 160 in a quarter mile, bro.
Yeah, you should have a cage in there. You lose control
at 160, you hit a wall.
Yeah.
Even with safety things, bro.
No, 100%.
Even with safety things,
but it's still,
you're gonna have a hard time.
Chance. It's still a chance that you could come out of there.
Yeah, of course. If somebody tells you, bro, you're gonna have an accident tomorrow, like I'm telling you, you're gonna have an accident tomorrow. You tell me you're not gonna be like, oh wait, I'm gonna have an accident. Okay, let me do everything I need. Right. So I can survive. Right. Yeah. So that's the mentality. Like, imagine, like, be positive, right? Be positive that you're gonna go to the track and you're gonna do your times and you're gonna run and then the car's gonna be the fastest and you're gonna be the world record. Yeah. Think of all that shit, but think also that you can have an accident and that you want to survive, right? Yeah. So I know in the U.S. there's a lot of tracks that allow a lot of crazy shit. Yeah. Like I seen cars running 7s like with no roll bar out there, but like don't wait to
Yeah, wait, don't wait till
you
it's
know
too
that.
late.
All right, we're in this zone now. Let's beef up
Yeah,
the safety a bit.
right. No, 100%.
100%.
Last time I spoke to him was at FL2K. We spoke about some of the drama that was going on with this other podcast, and he asked me some questions about it. He came up to my booth. My girl was there too. He came up to say what up, was checking on me. And before I left, I said, I spoke to Merrick, him, Peppa. I said, yo, because they were about to run. And I was like, yo, good luck. Be safe. Get home safe. I'll see you guys soon. That was it. And that was the last time I actually spoke to him. Yeah, but man, that's the last thing I expected, man. To hear that news.
It's crazy. It's crazy, man. It's
crazy.
Yeah, man. I remember Peppa. So I actually interviewed Peppa on my podcast.
Yes, yep, and Swerve.
Mm-hmm. And I remember as soon as we finished, Pep was like, I'm gonna bring Andre, bro. I'm gonna bring Andre. You guys are gonna get along each other. He's mad cool.
Yeah.
I think actually after that, Peppa went back and spoke to Andre about me, us, the shop, and then after that we started conversating through Instagram, and yeah, man, it's super unfortunate. Super unfortunate. Yep.
It's super unfortunate. So, just rest in peace to One Stock. You'll always be remembered, and you'll always be an influence in the BMW community.
100%
from here on out, man. So, so now, what about the customers that have like, let's say a 2021, right? Now those are locked, correct?
Yep.
They're still
all
locked.
of them.
So, can you talk about the process of unlocking the ECU for the 21 and up customers?
Well, anything, all G80 M3s have to be unlocked with femto.
No matter what.
No matter what.
Right?
No matter what. Some of the X3s, yes, late S58s on the X3, X4 need femto unlocks. The Supras, most of the A91s need to be femto unlock also. So there's a date behind the DME that will give you like the cutoff date.
The cutoff date.
To where you need to either send it to femto or you need to bench unlock the DME. But as of now, the only option for unlocking is through femto, which are now in Finland. So you have to take ECU out, ship it to Finland, have them unlock it, send it back, and then after that you can put any whatever program you need. But if you use the same DME, you can only use MHD or BM3.
Okay, so you're not Ecutech.
If you want to do Ecutech, you need to send a second DME with the earlier dates so they can clone that information into that DME, and then you can use Ecutech.
Got you.
So Ecutech, as of now, doesn't have support for the newer DMEs.
Got you. Okay, so now are you able to run the same times and everything with a boot mod or MHD compared to like Ecutech? Because they say Ecutech is probably, well, for better. A while it was probably better.
Yeah, I think I'm not a tuner, right?
Okay.
So I don't want to talk as if I were a tuner, right? But I've worked with everything. The reason is I think as a tuner, as a platform, like for BM3, whatever.
Yeah.
If the tuner is doing what it has to do and puts in the work, right? Because all of them are different, right? There's different tables, different program or different mappings, whatever, right? So if you have a tuner that's been in Ecutech for X amount of years, he knows all the ins and outs, right? So he's done all the trials and errors. So he has it in the lockdown. Another car comes in, I have the map for that, let's go.
Right.
This actually happened to Mikey with us because he does most of our BM3 stuff now, right? For tuning. And when he started going into BM3, everything changes, right? So you start hitting walls, right? And it's frustrating. Like it's funny. I used to have a lot of conversations with Mikey on the phone. It's like, bro, I know it's frustrating. Yeah. Because he's used to send you a map, fixing, let's go, go to the track, do your numbers. Right. So now you go into a newer platform, you need to start learning new stuff. And, it's time consuming. These guys have a bunch of cars to tune. They're all day in front of a computer. It gets frustrating, right? For them, right? And at least us, and this is something that the end user doesn't understand, right? Like some of these guys that are doing tuning straight with the tuner that have no mechanical experience or tuning prior experience. Yeah. Like they're very impatient, where's my tune? It's misfiring, it's doing all this stuff. And, we've been through it. So it's nothing for us. Like,
Right.
yo, Mikey, something's happening. We know how to read logs. You know, this happened.
Mm-hmm.
We know how to give feedback to tuners. And it's something that we help them. Like, I think it's very important for tuners. And I've seen this evolving more.
Yeah.
Like, tuners are starting to only tune for shops now.
Right.
And it's because of this. It's because, you know, customers don't understand certain things, right? And it becomes very frustrating for them. So us as a shop, you know, we don't give them, you know, headaches or stuff. We try to coordinate with them. You know, we don't do scheduling for dynos if the car is not ready.
Right.
Like,
as you shouldn't. Yeah.
It's like customers be like, yo, did you schedule the dyno, bro? Until the car's not out of the lift driving, and we can put 2 or 3 wide open throttles on the car in the street, and has no issues, I'm not scheduling no dyno, because I'm wasting the tuner's time,
Yep.
our time, the dyno time, your time. So we don't do it, right? And tuners appreciate that, right? And they appreciate that if the car has mechanical issues, sometimes they won't even know. Like, we're at the dyno and it has a mechanical issue. I mean, they'll know because of logs, right?
Yeah.
But they'll be like, yo, something, yeah, don't worry, we already fixed it. You know,
Right.
A bad coil, bad spark plugs. But an end user, a person that doesn't know all this, bro, I've seen emails that tuners show me. It's like, it's crazy, right? And I mean, I don't blame them, but you know, the days we're living in now, and days people want everything now.
Yeah.
You know, Amazon next day, Amazon same day now. It's crazy, right? So, I mean, if anybody's, you know, seeing this and is in the process or at some point is gonna start tuning with a tuner,
Right.
you have to understand things are gonna happen, and most of the time is never tuning related, right? Because that's the other thing. You know, oh, you messed up my car up, it's not working right. Like, most, from our experience, is usually a mechanical issue that needs to be fixed, right? And it could be a tuning issue, I'm not saying, but most of the time it's almost mechanical. So be patient. You know, it takes time. Like, you're trying to custom tune a car with 700, 800, 900, 1,000 wheel horsepower.
Yeah.
They make it look easy, but it's not.
It's not.
Like, just like you said, like, putting in a downpipe, that falls on the easy part, right? But when you're doing all this other stuff and so many things have to be working correctly, it's not easy. You know, you have to be patient. It's not easy.
If you're into BMWs and you love the Street Alpha podcast, check out our exclusive BMW t-shirts. Now available with a hoodie option too. Hit the link below to grab yours today. So now, to put together, let's say like an 8-second car, right? Like the 8.7 car. Are you like repeating all of these builds for other customers? Like, is it like a rinse and repeat thing? Like, all right, I'll put this on every car. Just
at some point it becomes that, right? Because you want to deliver results to your customer, right?
Right.
You're going to have customers that want to try something different, right?
Okay.
There's customers that come in and want to try something different, and you could do it with them.
Right.
They're customers that want results.
Right.
Right. Fast results, not necessarily fast, but you know, I see shops and I see, like, this is something that I think that's very, very bad for our community, is like shops having cars for years or months.
Oof.
Yeah. Like, it's so bad for everyone, because as a shop, you're not making money if the car is in a lift for 6 months. There's no way. Like,
wait, so hold on. Before you get, so you can't make money with a car in a lift.
Here, we don't like cars being like our culture here at the shop.
Yeah.
It's like, if I see a lift empty, I'm asking questions. Like, me, not only me, right? Like Jason, my manager, and my shop advisor, like, why is there not a car there? Or, here, put this car, right? Same effect with cars being too long at the shop, at the lift, right?
Yeah.
So, like, for example, we do engine builds. We'll take the engine out.
Okay.
And we'll tell the customer, you have to take the car home. Like, put it on a tow truck, take it.
With the motor out?
With the motor out, yeah. What is it going to do at the shop? Sit and have somebody hit it, parking, or you don't need it in your shop.
Yeah.
You're not working on the car, you're working on the engine, right?
Right.
So, bro, take the car home, put it on a safe place. It's going to cost you towing. It is what it is. I'd rather have that than, you know, something happening to the car outside.
Yeah.
and then let's work on the engine, right?
Now that's only for motor swaps or engine builds.
I mean, yeah, because anything else other than that, we do quick.
Here.
Yeah. Right. We do quick transmission. We'll do turbo kits. We do. So going back to to the issues in the culture, like if you have a car a year at your shop, you're not making money. The customer, as soon as you give the car back to the customer, he's selling it. Like I mean, he'll be happy, but as soon as it breaks down again, his mentality is going to say, here comes another year at the shop, right? And if you're married, your wife's going to be, bitching and complaining at you, like, where's your car? Blah, blah, blah. You're putting money into the car and all this stuff. Like, it's so many bad things going in that, right? And at the end of the day, you're not, like, if you're a shop, you live off of results, right? Right. From your customers, from the cars you build. And if it's not in the streets and it's in the lift, what is it? What are you giving, right? Like, where are your results, right? So, we can talk about how we do it and how we've made it to the point where we do it fast. Yeah. But stay away from that, bro. Like, do it. Like, don't be afraid of charging customers what it's worth, right? Because then here comes another reason, right? Like, a lot of shops do the mistake of wanting to charge less, right? To compete with other shops. And then when things don't work out, they get behind that excuse, right? Yeah. They'll be like, yo, but man, this guy's complaining, but X shop was charging him $5,000 and I'm charging him $3,000. Yeah. And now you want to come and give me shit? Like, if you did it because of that, then you're wrong. Already. Yeah, you're wrong. Charge the $5,000, bro. Do it right. Do it fast, right? And you're gonna have good results. Right. Yep.
No, I agree. So there was a video I saw recently on Instagram about people complaining about crank hub jobs, right? And that's common. What is it, like a $2,000-$3,000 job?
Yeah, $2,500. Yeah.
Right. So this person was saying that they charged a little bit more than that because of how much time it takes to get that job done. It's not an easy job, but they were complaining because they were saying that, oh, this person does it for this price and you're charging me this much. Why is it so much money? So he basically gave the breakdown of how much it costs to do that job. And it is a common job with the F80s, right?
Yeah.
So you have to do it, but it also takes time.
At this point, we've done so much. Like my A tech, right? My best tech here. He does them in 7 hours, 6 hours.
7 hours. Now, but does the speed determine, or so are you paying for the speed or are you paying for the job
experience?
itself?
No, you're paying for the experience. Like,
because it could take somebody else way longer than 7 hours.
Of course. If you do it for the first time, it will take you 2 or 3 days.
Right.
I guarantee you. I mean, if you don't know much about BMWs, if you know more about BMWs, you probably do it faster.
Right.
But it took them 25 times to do it, to be able to do it in 7 hours, right?
Yeah.
Now, who's going to benefit off of that? The tech or the customer, right?
Yeah.
So, because he's the one that put in the work, he bought the tools that he needed to buy to make it in 7 hours, to do the job in 7 hours, right? And at the end of the day, I mean, you're not necessarily, when you pay a shop, sometimes you're not necessarily paying for the job itself. Yeah. It's like everything that comes with it, right?
Right, the experience.
Like the experience, if something happens, the time response, the accountability that they put into it, right? Like, are you going to respond or are you just going to not answer my phone? Yeah. Kind of thing. Scratch the bumper. Are you going to paint the bumper or you're not going to pay the bumper? There's so much behind it, right? Yeah. Like, I tell our customers sometimes, one of the benefits of being with us as a team, right? We have a lot of relationships, right? Yeah. And so I'm at the track and your car has issues. I call Mikey. He answers every time I call, right? You try calling him, right? He's not going to answer, bro. Like, something broke, some part. Yeah. And I call whatever, KLM, whoever, right? Yo, this happened. They're like, Jenners, don't worry, I'm sending you right now. Right. Like, no questions asked. Like, they won't put, at this point, right, with some relationships, they'll never question anything. Like they know the quality, they know the type of people that we are, the type of work that we do, and customers benefit off of that, right?
Right.
I can't charge you a surcharge for that. We charge whatever we charge, and you benefit off of that at some point, right? Not necessarily in every work that we do, but there's gonna come the day, right? Like right now, half a mile event, and here in Puerto Rico, the guys at BMW were here all the way from Canada, Halim from Denmark, Copenhagen here, the Hayang F5150 here, like and I let them and I want them to, like, my customers, meet them, you know, and build relationships, and at the end of the day, all these people benefit off of that. Like my customers directly, they benefit off of that at some point, right?
Because of the relationships that you already had.
For us, is an added value that we give to our customers, right? So I mean, we might charge a little bit more,
right?
It's not necessarily that, right? But it's the benefit you have.
That's just what comes with it.
Exactly.
No, 100%. So now, if you wanted to build, let's say a G80, right? I think I don't know if we answered the question or not, but like, what is the package you need to build a second car?
Well, I mean, there's guys running 8s with a stock turbos, right?
Okay.
But that's unrealistic because, you know, that just happened. Yeah, I mean, it has to happen for me many times for us to be like, all right, it could be done, right?
Okay.
But built engine, built transmission.
3.0 or
3.0 is okay. Turbo kit, intake manifold, injectors, fuel pump. And I think that's it. And so, wheels, and tires. You should be able to run 8s.
And the diff is good? No diff?
Stock diff. Stock axles. Stock drive shaft. Stock transfer case.
On the G80 though? On
the G80, yep.
Okay. And what about
on the Supra, you need axles.
Supra, you need axles.
340s, anything. No, stock.
Stock
to run 8s, yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't even know. I thought some of the guys were running aftermarket diffs on the Supras, but they just came out with the Ford kit, but I don't think so many people are using that.
Yeah, no, it's too new. Oh.
Right. So now my question to you is, since you had a lot of these things being thrown around, right? Fuel pump, this, transmission, all that stuff, right? Is it possible to build 1,000 horsepower B58 for under $30,000? Because you just said to me that
no way. For under 30?
Under 30,000.
No way. Just sit down and add parts. That's it. It's going to be more than 30. I mean, you can probably do 1,000 horsepower with a stock transmission at the dyno. That's it. As soon as you go into the track or the street and you put the power down, it's going to slip 100%.
With the transmission, you're saying?
With the stock transmission, it's going to slip. Like, no questions asked. But, I mean, you can do it. Like, what are you trying to do? Like, is it reliability? Or is it just, I want to do 1,000 and that's it?
I mean, let's just say,
because you can do it on the stock block. 1,000.
Yes. The record is 1064, I believe.
You can do it.
Right.
But like, how long is it?
How many
last,
passes?
Bro?
Right.
Like what you're trying to do. It's like, no, I just want to do 1,000. You might be able to do it.
Yeah.
Buying used parts and stuff and keeping the stock internals. But man, you're building a 1,000 horsepower car.
Yeah.
I mean, not that you want to build a reliable car because it's 1,000 horsepower.
It's not
shit's gonna break.
Something's gonna break, right?
But you want it to be it to be as reliable as possible, right?
Yeah.
You don't want it to be a headache car, right? So if you don't want it to be a headache car, you have to build the engine, build the transmission, and the turbo kit. There's more than 30 right there.
So I think the most expensive part about that is probably the motor. How much is the motor build? I never actually looked into the price for building a motor.
It'll probably cost you like 15 grand to build it.
For the motor?
With
pistons, rods,
and labor and machine shop and valve trains and cams, around 50.
And what's the what would that get you to? Horsepower? Not get you to, but like what is it rated to?
We can go into another theme, right?
Yeah.
Which is head gasket, right?
Okay, that's the big thing right now, right?
If you want to get into it, we'll go into it.
Yeah.
But I mean, head gasket issues, which I think are not solved completely yet. but that's like kind of the limit, right?
Okay.
So because all these guys are there's not a billet block in the industry, right? So everybody's using stock block. Obviously, they're sleeving them. There's people that sleeve them. There's people that don't. And then pistons and rods is pretty basic,
Right.
but 1,200, 1,300 horsepower. People doing all kinds of stuff with the head gasket.
Yeah,
KLM just came out with one. Visconti had his. I think P-Tune is selling one. And then, I mean, there's the OEM one, which you can use also. But everybody has different stories, bro. Like, the head gasket or controversy, whatever you want to call it, the issue, the head gasket, that's the word. Head gasket issue is still there. And then you're going to get, like, I'll talk about head gaskets, and then you go to another shop, they'll have some other information, and then this guy has some other information. Like, this car right behind you made 1,200 horsepower. It's the first S58 we did has the OEM head gasket. This engine is like three years old, right?
Okay.
We've put so many passes on this engine, bro. It's like crazy. Like, I remember Mikey when we ran 8.6s with it. We were having dinner, and he's like, "What head gasket you guys using?" I'm like, "It has the OEM head gasket." And he's like, "No way, bro. You would have told me this. I would have pushed it as hard." I was like, "Push it, bro." Like, we did 193 on the half mile with this car.
Damn.
On an OEM head gasket. We running 49 pounds of boost, right? And
on an OEM head gasket.
On an
from
OEM head gasket.
BMW.
On 11 millimeter head stud still, because this is the first one we did.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of stuff coming out now, right? KLM, we're using the newer head gaskets now on the builds.
Yeah.
And we haven't had any issues. We haven't pushed anyone yet to the 1,200 horsepower.
Okay.
This car behind us is running now. We just did a 3.4 stroker on it.
Oh, it's a 3.4.
3.4, yep.
Damn.
So it's the first one we've done, and we're running a 7480 turbo, and it has the head gasket, and we're gonna push it.
Right.
So we'll get data from that and see. You know, I mean, we don't want to lift head gaskets on no cars, right?
Yeah.
You know, for the sake of us and the customer, right?
Right.
But you never know.
So now, are you using the copper rings too? Any O-rings or fire rings?
No, we're using fire rings.
Okay.
From the same head gasket.
Yeah.
There's O-rings now that we were just with Hayang 5150. They're gonna do now on the head. So
like
eventually,
retainer, a receiver groove, or
we'll eventually move into that. See how it goes. But as of now,
you
fire rings. Yep.
Right. So now, what about? So if you're using the OEM head gasket, right? There has to be something that you're doing differently that other people aren't. So what are you doing for torquing or torquing the head down?
Well, everybody I mean, this is something that I think everybody's going to have to learn from their own, right?
Okay.
Especially obviously shops and stuff, because we've asked along the way a lot of, people that know us personally, and they, we share information. I think there's very few shops that feel comfortable sharing information because, when they call us, we answer and we give information, right? Yeah. And they feel the same way sometimes, most of the time. And we've had people torquing at 110, 115, 120.
Are those ARP recommended?
ARPs, yes. Okay. ARP head studs, 6625 head studs, which are the best. Okay. 2000s, like, they're no good for these builds. Like, 6625 has to be 6625. But most important is retorquing, right? I think people don't
prioritize that.
Yeah, I think it's the most important thing. Like, you can do 110, you can do 115, you can do 120. Right. You just have to have it there all the time. Like, that torque has to be there, right? And when you build these engines, you have to go through heat cycling. So the metals expand, get cold, expand. We've actually seen, after heat cycles, nuts take 70 pounds of torque. Yeah. Right. And which is crazy because you did 120 and they're at 70, right? Yeah. If you don't fix that and you don't retorque that, boost is gonna get in between the head and the block, right? So I think retorquing is essential. Like, it has to be part of your engine program. Like, if you're gonna give customers engine programs, tell them, we're going to build the engine, but you have to bring the car in for retorquing at certain cycles, just to make sure everything's okay.
And how many cycles would you recommend?
Well, we do three or four checks, right? But eventually, like, we stopped at this one at 3 because after 3, at the 4th time, we noticed it wouldn't do anymore.
Yeah.
So we felt like confident, and we haven't redone it. But I think this engine now we're gonna retire because we've put so much stress on it, and the customer obviously wants to change to a bigger turbo, and we're gonna see the results on this, and if it works, then we'll probably do a 3.4 on that. But yeah, I retorque.
Now, is that only for like the 1,000 horsepower or 1,000 plus horsepower?
Just engine builds.
Just
itself.
engine build.
Yeah, it doesn't matter the power you're doing. If you put head studs in it, you need to retorque.
Wow, interesting.
And I think, if you read the ARP recommendations, it says, and it has to be. I think any engine builder is going to tell you have to retorque stuff.
And then also lubing, like
on the nut. Yeah, and the washer, like we spoke about. Washers have 2 sides.
Mm-hmm.
They have a flat side, and they have a part that has a little bit more of a surface, right? Which is supposed to be looking down on the head,
right?
Not on the nut.
On that side,
Because if not, it'll give you false torquing.
Right.
So you want it to stick to the head, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you want the nut to spin freely on top of the washer. So yeah, that's important also.
A lot of these high horsepower cars, you said the heads are lifting, right? That seems to be the only or the biggest problem with these cars is trying to keep that head down. That's been it since day one. Even when Papadakis was taking motors apart, it seems like that seems to be the issue, and they've been trying to figure it out. But it seems like you've had some success with the retorquing.
Yeah, I've actually, thank God, as of now, none of them have lifted the head.
Yeah.
So to be honest, we probably don't push cars as much as in the States. Like, Raza and Mikey and all these guys are, trying to go for records 7s and stuff. We're not that kind of shop, right?
Yeah.
We don't want to push it because customers want you to push the car until it blows up.
Yeah.
As soon as a rod throws out, you see their face change. I know it. Like, I've seen, no, it doesn't matter. Put all the boost in it. I don't give a shit. If it breaks, it breaks. Soon as it throw a rod, bro, everything changes. Like, their face changes. And obviously, right, it's going to cost you at least 20-something K because now you have to buy an engine and you have to build it, right? Yeah. So, we don't have customers that want to do that. And if I had one, I'm not sure I would do it. Yeah. Because we're not that kind of shop. Like, know, we've had success with what we've done. And we want to keep that going. Yeah. And, we're not willing to break cars. You know? If it breaks, it breaks, right?
Yeah, it happens.
It's not made to
at this level.
It's not made to push 1,200 horsepower, right? Right. But we don't want to do it knowing it could happen, right? Be like, put 70 pounds of boost in it, see what happens. It's gonna blow up. You know it's gonna blow up. So
right. So now engine build would be at like 30K. You said roughly 20 or 30K, and then the transmission you'd probably be at around like what 15, 20,000 at this horsepower level, or maybe
stage 2. Well, now this stage 3. Right?
Now the stage 3, yeah.
I don't know the price on that yet. We haven't inquired about it yet because hadn't had no slipping issue yet. Yeah. At the power level that we are, this, like I said, this did 193 at the half a mile event. Never has the transmission slipped. And then the 87 car has an HPK kit, which we built, and doesn't have any slipping issues, right? But if stage 2, which is the price I know is 10K for the transmission, and then 2.5 for the converter. Yeah. And that's without the transmission labor. So yeah, 1250, at least 15K for stage 2. So
installed. Yep. And then you got the motor, which is about 20 or 30.
Well, no, 20 or 30 if you have to buy a motor. Okay. So if you have a motor, you're looking around 15. And
just for the build.
These prices are
rough estimates.
Yeah.
So, but then even then you're at 30K just for that and the transmission alone.
And and if you do both things, you have the same power, same car. Because you haven't done anything yet. You haven't even tuned it yet.
Yeah, no tune. No tune. That you have to factor that in. Then you got wheels.
And then you have wheels, and then you have a turbo kit, which is going to cost you $8,500.
Yeah.
The install, and then you need a boost controller. Now you need femto. You need a license. You need to pay the tuner. You need injectors. You need a fuel pump. There's no way.
Yeah, it sounds like you're at like 75 so far.
There's I think the number is around 60-ish.
60?
Yeah, I think it's around
60K to build a 1,000+ horsepower G80.
Reliable,
consistent.
like consistent car.
Consistently.
Like a car that won't give you any issues, like no limitations, right?
Yeah.
Because you can build it, you don't do the transmission, you're going to go to the track, it's going to slip, like, and you have to let it cool down for 4 hours and then go again. That's not a build, man.
So do you do a lot of B58s too?
We do. We obviously the Supra.
Yeah.
We do a crazy amount of Supras.
Now, between the B58 and the S58 now, because I've asked this question before about a year ago, and I'm sure there's been some advancements or maybe some things that people have figured out. What are the key differences now in terms of like power when you're at that level at 1,400 horsepower or 1,200 horsepower B58 as opposed to like a S58?
Well, to be honest, they're super similar.
Yeah.
Like on results, they're super similar. Like if you put a 68, 70 next gen on a B58, on an S58, numbers are going to be super similar, like very similar.
Yeah.
Obviously, you know, considering keeping the same compression and all this stuff.
Right,
and
right.
You know, not changing variables, right? Just being straight to just putting a turbo kit on it. They're very similar. I don't feel like we've reached the limit on the stock S58 yet.
Okay.
Not us personally.
Yeah.
I don't know where is at the limit.
Just in general.
I mean, we've done cars with 950 to the wheel and 750 torque.
Yeah.
And you know, we didn't through a rod, and we put a couple of passes on that car. That was the 9.0s that we did.
Yep.
And we took the engine apart. Rods were straight as an arrow, bro. So I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, everybody has different opinions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Our opinion, and it happens to us very often. Like people, one of the issues that we have is that people here in the island, their comparison is the States, right?
Yeah.
So if they're doing something in the States and we don't do it, we're not good enough, right? And I tell people, listen, you're in Puerto Rico, bro.
Yeah.
You have us, you have one track, you have this weather, like it is what it is. Like, you know, we push the platforms and, you know, and we do our best and we have results, right? Don't compare yourself. Like, don't start looking into, oh no, in California, some car did this.
Right.
And I tell people, like, bro, I know this. Like, there's a lot of people that post things. They don't post everything, right?
Yeah.
They don't, like, you see, oh, they ran 8s with a stock internal car. Cool. They don't document, or they don't put a post when they broke the engine. Right?
Yeah.
Nobody does that.
That's pretty common. Bro. Yeah. Nobody. Yeah.
So they're running 8s out there in the States. You guys aren't running 8s. Cool, man. But you don't know if they broke the block.
Yeah.
They won't document it. They won't be like, hey, you know, we ran 8 9s. We wanted to be transparent and tell everybody we threw a rod. Come on, man. So you see only the good on Instagram and Facebook, right? You won't see the bad. And it's not necessary. I mean, I wouldn't post a block of a customer because probably the customer doesn't want us to do that, right?
Right.
They're like, yo, I don't want anybody to know I threw a rod, right? I'll say it though. Like, I won't. If you're a customer and you come in and we're like, yo, you know, we can't push it. We've had customers throw a rod. I won't keep that to myself. Yeah. Especially for my customers, right? Because, you know, obviously it's not right. So, but I won't post about it. I mean, because I would post about it, but probably the customer doesn't want to. So nobody's ever going to know. Right. No, 100%. Like our followers in the US, they'll never know, you know? And it's the same thing with us, you know? We're never going to know. Yeah. No, I'll probably know because I'll speak to Mikey and he'll tell me, or, you know, whatever tuner, whatever engine builder, whatever other shop. You know, I speak a lot to Matt Meadows at Insomnia. We share a lot of information and results with each other. Yeah. and that's me and him.
Yeah, right.
Nobody else sees that information.
Now, what about the people who say they're doing these records or doing numbers on stock block, right? What do you consider stock block? You consider that like, because there's kind of like when they say that, it's you're dancing on the edge of like, is it really stock or do you mean like unopened?
Well, for me, stock block is more all right. And what components of the engine do you change that will allow you to run on a next level, right?
Okay.
So rods and pistons, obviously, right? Yeah. Sleeves, head studs, valve springs, right? Those things will allow you to run on a next level.
Okay.
Cams, you still can say stock internals because, cams don't break because of boost, right?
Right. Okay.
It'll allow you maybe to have a better, power band.
Right.
So, that might be on the line-ish of stock internals or not, right? But for me personally, if it gives you a benefit to run more boost, because that's where the limit is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't run more boost because it's going to break.
Right.
For me, that's where you should keep it stock internals, right?
Okay.
If you opened it to put a head gasket that's not OEM, that's going to allow you to run more boost.
Right.
I think it's not stock internals. Rods, pistons, whatever.
So
that's what I think.
Changing a head gasket would not be considered stock block, you're saying?
No, because it's going to allow you to run more boost, right?
It's true. But
let's say we're pushing the platform, right? And 40 pounds of boost. And at 41, we see all head gaskets lift, right? Or heads lift. And you change the head gasket to be able to run more boost than is not stock internal.
Okay. So
like spark plugs, right? Because you can say, all right, stock internals, a spark plug is an internal part, right? It's in the chamber, right?
Right.
You have to change them to run more power. Are you not stock internals anymore?
That's true. That's true.
Right?
That's true. Yeah. That's true.
So, everybody's going to have a different opinion, right?
100%.
100%. For me personally, if it allows you to run more boost, like if you encounter a limit, right? And you can't run more, you can't do more because it's going to break and you change it in the internal part of the engine, it's not stock internals. Like for me, happened to us with a car with cams. We put cams and somebody did a post about it being stock internals and shit went viral. Like everybody's like, how are you going to say it's stock internals if you change the cams? This is crazy. But in theory, you don't put more boost in the engine because of cams, right? It's the same as changing spark plugs.
Wait, so okay, all right. So, with cams though, you do allow more airflow to come into the motor though.
Yeah, that's true.
So wouldn't that be adding more boost though?
Well, you still run the same levels of boost because you still have a limit on the engine. Like you won't be able to run 45 pounds because you put a cams in it. Like I said, you probably have a better power band.
Yeah, it'll push the power band up higher.
But you're not running more boost.
All right.
So
what about pistons though?
No.
You can change the compression.
You could, but what if you put stock pistons from another engine in a stock engine? Is it still stock internals? I don't know.
I guess.
What if B58 has a different compression than the S58 and somebody puts stock pistons on an S58 and makes more power and says it's stock internals?
Like OEM parts, that's true. Is that even a thing? They do that?
No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so. I hope so. I hope nobody's doing that.
And none of the parts from the B58 and S58 are interchangeable, right?
Oh, not most of them. No, I don't. Pistons are very similar, but S58 is like an inch shorter, so that's why like the exhaust manifold stuff is not compatible. Okay, because it's shorter. Right. So there's a lot of things that are common. Yeah. Like valve trains, very common and all that sort of stuff, but some of them not.
So what in your opinion, right? Out of all the BMWs you've worked on, what would you say is your favorite BMW?
Man, I'm really in love with the G80 because I mean it keeps on impressing me, right? I still impressed. I'm impressed if the cars run perfectly. It looks so good.
Yeah,
it makes so much power. Nothing's like I haven't broken anything on a G80 yet. I mean we've out of all the ones we've done, we only had one engine failure.
Yeah.
But other than that, nothing. Like I've never broken an axle, a transmission, nothing, bro. Like nothing. So it's hard for me to not like it. I mean, we keep on throwing things at it, and it just keeps on performing, right? I mean, I love NA cars too, like the S54. I used to have an E46 M3. That was actually my first BMW.
Oh, nice.
And I think eventually it'll become, legendary. Actually, I just bought an E36 M3 not too long ago.
Oh, you bought an E36?
Yeah, 4-door Techno Violet with like 60,000 miles. So it's a car that I want to rebuild to stock conditions. But as a favorite, I would think it's the G80 for me as of now. Yep,
it's the G80.
It is.
Now, what you said E46, right? I remember I was like, it must have been like 2009. There was this company called Horsepower Freaks.
Yep.
And they did a lot of turbo kits for that platform.
They were fast too.
They were.
Yeah.
I remember watching a couple of. They had some YouTube videos up, or maybe some people had some videos up of those kits.
Those cars are fast.
Yeah,
they look very, very nice. And at that time, it was even of a bigger issue, right, than what it is now to make crazy power.
Right.
Because like I said, like nobody looked into BMWs.
Yeah. Yeah.
So props to them. I don't remember what happened to that company. We used to buy some stuff from them, but I think they no longer exist.
They were one of the companies that was like doing a lot of the R&D earlier. That's why like that kit was kind of like, if you look back at how the kit was designed, it was kind of like funky how it had it set up. But it worked. I'm sure back then.
So much stuff has changed. Like nowadays, new turbo comes out, like you don't change anything. Change the turbo. Go to the dyno. 50 horsepower more. Yeah. Just like with a different technology in turbo.
Right.
So imagine whatever was back then, it probably make 200 horsepower now just by changing, just by the newer technology turbo. So it's crazy, man.
Being that you had an E46 and that was one of your first cars, right? That you had turboed, right? It was always a thing that I heard that those motors are not reliable.
Those cars had the Vanos issues, like going bad, but you could repair them, which was fairly easy. The SMGs had like pump failures. That was very bad. I think that was like the culprit of those cars, like the SMG transmissions. That was crazy, man.
So SMGs are basically
they were so bad, like it's expensive to work at for a long time. It was bad, but as an engine, I think it was super good engine for me. It did have the earlier years. They had the bearing failures, which there was a recall for it, so you had to bring your car in to have different bearings put in. Yeah, and they kind of fixed it. But as an NA engine, it was so good, bro. Like the sound, it was ITBs, like OEM ITBs. You can put equal length headers on it. It will sound so like, I think that's when the BMW raspiness really became a thing. Yeah, like like very introduced into the community. Like you knew from far away it was a BMW M3 because you can hear that raspiness in the exhaust. And it was very good. Like, I mean, they still use it on a lot of stuff. I remember at first they would like take the Vanos away because no computer software could control that type of Vanos at that moment. But I think now everybody has that kind of set up. And I think that's where, I'm 100% sure where the money was on those cars, like for making power, was like learning the tables to work on the Vanos. I remember we did a couple of those, like with 100 octane fuel, you'll do like 350 to the wheels. Yeah. NA was good at that time. It was very good power. I like the S54. I think it's, I mean, other than the shimming, also with the valve trains, like you had to learn how to shim clearance with the camshafts.
Yeah.
And I mean, they'll just start ticking with time. You
Right,
can hear it
right.
ticking and idle. But other than that, I think it was a very good engine.
Were the ITBs a pain in the ass though?
No,
No?
no,
They
no.
weren't difficult
I mean,
to
the
tune or
actuator would
anything?
go bad sometimes. I just had to. I mean, you just had to make sure that we're moving freely,
Right.
and nothing was, kinking or anything. But other than that, they were never an issue.
And that's at any power or just like
No, at all. I mean, I don't know turbo. Like I never did
this
one.
is on NA.
NA.
Okay,
Yeah,
gotcha.
I never did turbo S54. I think there was someone doing it here. Someone did turbo S54 here, but a good friend Alex. But I never saw Axel. I think Alex. Yeah, I never saw it finished. But nothing that I know was like crazy.
Yeah. So there's only one guy out here with that motor, with that car, basically, S54.
That I know of. There's probably somebody else, but
Yeah. So majority of the culture out here, a lot of them are BMW guys, right?
yep,
And I seen some domestic out here too.
yep.
I saw that 2 days ago when we went to the track. It seems like everyone's more to themselves in the States, and here everyone was like a community of people that work together. And I know you mentioned it to me multiple times, and you said that people here, they're willing to help you out. But it's true, and I learned that by being introduced to a lot of people that were out here. They were super friendly. It was a good experience for me to be out here.
First of all, I haven't had a chance, obviously, to thank you for accepting the trip, right?
Yeah, I know.
So thank you. It's, for me personally, it's very important to have people in the community, obviously, relevant people, right?
Yeah.
That could actually impact positively the culture here, right?
Right.
Like obviously with what you do, with owners of, tuning platforms like BM3, like I've seen it firsthand happen year after year. Everything changes once you come here, right? Because you live it. Puerto Rico is an island. Most of the people in the States never been to an island. You could have the assumption that island life is a little bit like crazy.
Yeah.
Jamaica is an island and Hawaii is an island. And it's, everybody has like the island life kind of thing. I mean, this is still an island and we do island life, but as a car culture, because I've seen it firsthand, because I've traveled around the world and I've seen car cultures anywhere. I hear it's like what you lived is like what it is. Right. Like there was, like, I didn't tell anybody, yo, Tubes from nobody, bro. Like I mean, some of the people that are close to me knew, but I didn't want to like, yo, everybody come down. Let's meet. You saw it.
Yeah.
Like nobody came up to you like, yo, Janice told me you were coming.
Right.
I felt comfortable leaving you, guys walking around.
Yeah.
Because I know how it is. Everybody appreciates. Everybody's gonna have a conversation. I saw some fans coming up to you, and then people talking to you without knowing who you are.
Yeah, that was the cool part.
I didn't even want to tell them because I know, I know it's genuine, right?
Right.
And that's how it is. Like every car event that we go, the half a mile event, which is one of the best car events that I've been in my life. It's the same thing, but multiplied, by way more people and more cars. And more racing, right?
Yeah.
Because it starts early in the morning. And that's how it is, man. People, I mean, you obviously have the normal beef between customers and shops, but nothing that gets out of hand,
right?
To where you can't walk next to each other and all that kind of stuff. I don't think we have that here, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, man, it's a blessing, and I'm glad that you had a chance to live that like firsthand, like as raw as it gets, right? And hopefully it's not your last time.
No, definitely not. I can say that I probably gained about 10 pounds eating here though.
I told you.
One thing about this dude is I trust him. He has me and my girls full on trust with food choices, because everything this man said that's good, we loved it. Like 100%, every single thing. And normally when you don't know somebody and say, yo, this spot's fire, whatever, like everything that you recommended to me was A1. And honestly, I'm on like a diet. Like I don't eat carbs, a lot of carbs, no rice and stuff like that. But
it's hard.
I had to, It actually isn't so difficult after like a month in, but man, I said, F that, bro. Like, we gonna live it up. Yeah. So now, but it's hard because it's like, damn, like you're away, you're traveling. Yeah. When else are you gonna be able to? You don't even know when you're gonna come back. So it's like you got to be able to try everything out.
Yeah, and you got to vacation, right? Which I told you. I remember texting, and
it feels like a vacation.
You come down, let's get some content ready.
Yeah.
But let's enjoy, right? Let's have fun. Puerto Rico, that's what Puerto Rico is, right? That's one of the things I like the most about living here. One of the reasons why I came back is because family culture, like, and not necessarily like direct family. Like here at the shop, I use the term family a lot with my customers, right? Because we are a family and we treat ourselves as a family. We're going to an event. Who's going to buy meats? Who's going to bring this? Who's going to bring this? Yeah. They bring meats. They're not asking, who's going to pay me for this? So it's kind of that vibe and culture thing. And we want to keep on having that as a shop, right? Yeah. And yeah, man, that's Puerto Rico is.
Especially being around BMWs and the car community. This is probably the best way I would have wanted to come out here is being around cars and doing this for a living. So thank you so much for making this happen.
And thank you for coming.
I'll probably be out here soon again. Might come back in March. We're working on it. So I'm sure I'll see you then, and we'll do some more content then. Maybe I might have you as a co-host.
We'll eat.
You can probably do that too. You just got to get another chair, just like this one.
You got it, bro. Let's do it. You know me. Yeah. Bottle tequila, and we lit. As soon as it hits half a bottle, turn the camera on.
That's it.
We on.
That's it. All right, bro. So if any of you guys have any questions for Jenners, you guys can reach out to him. Where can the viewers and listeners reach out?
All right, well, we use Instagram and Facebook, Bimmer PR.
Okay.
And then for Spanish community, because you obviously must have a lot of Spanish community. I have a YouTube channel, Bimmer PR, which we do BMW and Supra content.
Okay.
Only in Spanish, right? Because I think there's actually no one else doing BMW content like in the shop.
Yep.
In Spanish. So yeah, if you guys can go over there and subscribe and give us some love.
Yes, absolutely.
Hopefully by 2078, I'll have 400 followers, like 400,000 followers, like Tukes.
Nah, you definitely will. 2070 is crazy though. I say next year.
I'll be retired.
So if you guys are listening and watching, if you're watching right now, if you're watching the premiere, make sure you hit that like button. Also make sure you subscribe. And for those listeners, make sure you guys are listening on all streaming platforms. And also make sure you guys check out Bimmer PR on Instagram and Facebook. You got Facebook? Facebook, and you got a website too, right?
Yep.
Yeah, make sure you guys check him out. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out to him.
Please.
If you have any BMW related questions. So until next time, guys, we'll catch you on the next one. Peace.
Later.